Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. It's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot. I was going to say robot zoo, but it's not what it is. The disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, we are going to spectrum.ieee.org with a headline, How Robots Can Help Us Act and Feel Younger. Act and feel younger. Gons, I know sometimes you're feeling a little older. You feel the weight, the existential weight of living for so long as a millennial. But don't worry, the robots are here to make you feel and act younger.
Great.
This is quite the long article, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I had some very interesting parts of it that I think speak to some very prescient parts of society today, as well as kind of go along with the cyborg baby theme. Let's get into it. By 2050, the global population aged 65 or more will be nearly double what it is today. The number of people over the age of 80 will triple, approaching 500 million. Supporting an aging population is a worldwide concern, but this demographic shift is especially pronounced in Japan.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Where more than a third of the Japanese will be 65 or older by mid-century. Toyota Research Institute, TRI, which was established by Toyota Motor Corp in 2015 to explore autonomous cars, robotics, and, quote, human amplification technologies. Human amplification.
Kind of
Turn it.
what we just saw with the cyborg.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the whole idea behind cyborgism. But, human they're going to turn up human to 11 with some human amplification technologies. Has also been focusing a significant portion of its research on ways to help older people maintain their health, happiness, and independence as long as possible. While an important goal in itself, improving self-sufficiency for the elderly also reduces the amount of support they need from society more broadly. And without technological help, sustaining this population in an effective and dignified manner will grow increasingly difficult, first in Japan, but globally soon after. So specifically, sustaining, it's not even like caring for or whatever. It is sustaining the population of people over 65 in an effective and dignified manner is becoming increasingly difficult because there's less young people. Well, in comes the robots. Gil Pratt, Toyota's chief scientist and CEO of TRI, believes that robots have a significant role to play in assisting older people by solving physical problems as well as providing mental and emotional support. This is my emotional support robot. With a background in robotics research and 5 years as program manager at the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. He's a DARPA guy.
DARPA Toyota guy, huh?
Yes, this DARPA guy is going to figure out how to sustain these older people. During which time he oversaw the DARPA Robotics Challenge in 2015. Pratt understands how difficult it can be to bring robots into the world in a useful, responsible, and respectful way. We got to make sure we bring robots into the world in a respectful way. In an interview earlier this year in Washington, D.C. with IEEE Spectrum's Evan Ackerman, he said that the best approach to this problem is a human-centric one. Oh, here it comes, Gons. Here it comes. Here's a quote. It's not about the robot. It's about people. It's about people, Gons, not the robot. Ignore the armies of robots marching down the street, invading our elderly homes. No, it's about the people. And it goes on here. Let me see. Gil Pratt. We are looking at the aging society as the number one market driver of interest to us. Remember, these are good old capitalists, baby. The aging market is a market driver. Over the last few years, we've come to the realization that an aging society creates two problems. One is within the home for an older person who needs help, and the other is for the rest of society, for younger people who need to be more productive to support a greater number of older people. The dependency. So in the sort of economic scheme of things here, the idea in the olden days was that, younger people eventually care for the older people. Maybe your parents, live with you, though you got the mother-in-law unit out back, you got the family all under one roof, or at least in a neighborhood, and everybody that is becoming, harder and harder for younger people to find the time and the money and the energy due to so many factors to take care of their aging parents or aging family members. But more than caring for them directly, they need the younger people specifically to keep doing the things that is taking away their time and energy, mainly participating in the economy, not just working, that is a big part of it, but also consuming, spending money. If you have all these younger people staying home, that has some pretty significant economic repercussions. So in come the robots. So the aging people can be taken care of, and the younger people can keep the economy going. The dependency ratio is the fraction of the population that works relative to the fraction that does not. As an example, in Japan, in not too many years, it's going to get pretty close to 1-to-1 ratio. And we haven't seen that ever, it says. Ever, Gons. Is this triggering you? Are you afraid that your family, have you experienced this with your family in Japan?
Experience what?
No. Okay, moving on.
I'm really frustrated with this audition situation because I cleared a bunch of data and it's still telling me that there's no room. Sorry, continue.
Okay, well, keep working on it. The article continues. Solving physical problems is the easier part of assisting an aging society. The bigger issue is actually loneliness. This doesn't sound like a robots thing, but it could be. Related to loneliness, the key issue is having purpose and feeling that your life is worthwhile. Yes, we need the robots to make our aging population feel like their life is worthwhile. What we want to do is build a time machine. This is in the article. What we want to do is build a time machine. Of course. Well, of course we can't do that. That's science fiction. But we want to be able to have a person say, quote, I wish I could be 10 years younger, and then have a robot effectively help them as much as possible live that kind of life. So the robots specifically, since we can't make a sci-fi time machine, we got to have robots come in and help people live a life that makes them feel 10 years younger. And it's got this kind of transhuman vibe to it, but also it's interesting how in this primary market, this number one market that they're trying to break into, the aging market, that the marketing, the goal is to make them feel younger, kind of playing on this more or less society construct that younger is better. Hey, you want to be younger? Get some robots in the home, baby. That'll make it work. I'm going to skip down just a little bit, and it says here, there's a very interesting dilemma, which is that we want to build a social assistive technology, but we don't want to pretend that the robot is a person. We found that, look at this. We found that people will anthropomorphize a social machine, which shouldn't be a surprise. So they're talking about, like a social robot that aging people can talk to, make friends with, and give them some sort of emotional support or satisfaction. And they don't want to, on purpose, try to trick the person into thinking it's a the robot is a person, but they find that they will do that themselves. So we found that people will anthropomorphize a social machine, which shouldn't be a surprise, but it's very important to not cross a line where we are actively trying to promote the idea that this machine is actually real, that it's a human being or like a human being. So this comes. I got to skip down a little bit because they make their own point here. This was from another person in the interview. We don't want to trick anybody. We should be very ethically stringent, I think, to not try to fool anyone. People will fool themselves plenty. We don't have to do it for them. So part of the entire framework of what they are trying to do, bringing robots not just into the homes of the aging population, but really into society as a whole, because it's not just about how the aging person, will feel younger, will have a robot friend, and they don't want to, try to convince the older person that the robot is an actual human, because the older person will fool themselves into thinking that the robot is a person. And I think this speaks a lot to, kind of the idea that Toyota has about aging people, first of all, but just people in general. It's really got this idea that, like, hey, we don't need to cross any ethical boundaries. We'll just let the people do that themselves. We're not here to replace your family with a robot, aging population. We'll just make a robot that that you'll learn to love more than your own children, all by yourself. What do you think, Cons? Are you still typing away?
I'm still trying to figure out what's
I'm
wrong.
just checking in because
we're
I'm running out of material on this article here.
No, we're running out of time. It's okay. Whatever. I'm just another thing, Basil.
I got my backup, so we're all backed up, buddy.
I guess,
Don't you worry.
I hate publishing a podcast with less than perfect quality.
Well, here's the fun part: is we've posted plenty of podcasts with my quality being less than perfect, and you've always had your perfect quality. So this time, for once in our entire career, my recording will sound better than yours.
Yeah, but also the jingles won't sound as good, That's really the thing that bothers me. It's like my voice, sure, whatever. People are on Skype all the time with worse microphones, but
sure.
Okay.
Well, I'd love to run you through some tech support there.
I don't understand. I just don't understand how you can clear space and then it still tells you that it's not got any space and it gives you error messages. And
you do it on the right drive? That's always a thing.
Yes, I have tried all different things. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, do you have anything to say about this Flippy? Toyota research project. They are deliberately targeting the aging population, trying to replace the need for young people to be in the lives of their elders. And they're confident that the aging population will trick themselves into loving these robots versus trying to make a robot so lovable that they just can't resist.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, especially I heard you mention Japan as part of the conversation, and Japan has been really rolling out the robots in the old folks home and stuff like that for a while. Yeah, they love it. The elderly in Japan love it because it's companionship and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm not surprised.
It also fits into the trend of people having less babies.
Yeah.
Just in
Japan's
general,
population is in heavy decline. So
sure, Japan being the most extreme example.
Yeah.
But, just across Western culture as a whole, you've got less and less babies, which means in 50 years, there's going to be less and less people to take care of the aging population, which means, it's just literally required to have robots take the place of the younger generation. This may be a situation. We talk about a lot about how the armies of robots will march down the streets and that will be the robo-apocalypse. But in this case, it's like the human population will be shrinking itself and replacing itself with the robots out of, personal choices. And this is why the social engineering aspect of the Flippy update is so important. Much of the Flippy updates revolve around social engineering regarding robots, because it really is a situation where, generation after generation, we will slowly replace ourselves and the need for other human beings, not just at like an industrial economic level, but even at the familial level. And that's the real slow march of the robot apocalypse. And this has been your Flippy update for the day.